Hello everybody, welcome to round 2 of Pillow Talk. Mike was helping fix this for me earlier this week, so hopefully it'll work now. Chat seems to be working better, this time at least. And this time I actually have, headphones and everything that might be working, we're hoping. So we'll see. But anyway, welcome. I hope everybody's having a good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Pilo. I am one of a few streamers that we have here at Graphic Word. We are a nerdy ministry using nerdy topics to bring the word to people. We're kind of crazy, but we're still pretty awesome. So if you're new, you should stick around. Yes, Solomon, we are very much nerds. I am extremely proud of being a nerd. I am not at all, ashamed of being a nerd. I think it makes me pretty cool. And yes, Solomon, our camp, I don't have the flyer for it on my computer. I meant to get it yesterday, but then I was later than I expected and Tom was already gaming. So you want to join our summer camp, people. You want to either, maybe sponsor a person if you can't yourself go. Maybe, you want to give us some snacks for the kids, coffee for the leaders, because as of right now, it is just Ark and I. So coffee for the leaders, chocolate for the leaders as well. We love chocolate. Sponsor a kid. If you know people who might be interested in this, send this their way. It's gonna be a blast. We're gonna have so much fun. And yes, Solomon, you can always donate otherwise to our many nerdy ministries and all the fun things that we get to do. We have a blast. We don't do this for the money. We don't do this for the attention. We do this for you guys. It's a bonus that I get to game and hang out with people, and then my parents aren't like, why are you gaming all the time? It's like, actually, I'm technically working. We do this because we love connecting with you guys, and we love that you're a part of our family, part of our clanmily, as I like to call it. I'm a weirdo. So last time on Pillow Talk, we went through James 1. This time in Pillow Talk, from the looks of it, this time I have Twitch going, and I have YouTube going, and now I can hear it and it pops up on the screen. So yeah. Booyah. I don't know if you guys can hear the music in the background. I tried to have some sort of music in the background. I don't know if you can hear it. If you can't, Mike is gonna have to help me figure that out too. But I was trying to do some peaceful music for a fun conversation today. We'll see. I have my coffee in my little Grogu mug. It says protect, attack, snack. I've got a nice little coffee today because, it's a coffee kind of day. Yeah, I figured you wouldn't be able to hear the music. We'll figure it out. I actually got this mug from Winners years and years ago. I get all of my nerdy mugs from Winners, or where else do I go? I also go into places like GameStop, EB Games as well. I go to sometimes nerdy places, but usually like other places too, and I get some cool nerd stuff. Alright, I've had my coffee. Stretch it out. Ugh. Okay, so we've got that. Now, if you've got your Bible with you, we are going to go to James 2. I did some extra research today and wrote down some pretty sick stuff. So in case you haven't noticed, the title of the stream is Work That Faith, Boo, because James 2 is talking all about faith and works. You can't get into heaven alone on faith. You can't get into heaven alone on works. You have to have the two. They've got to be together there. So that's what we're going to be going through in James chapter 2 today. Let's see if I can remember off the top of my head. Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Philemon, Hebrews, and James. Now only 7 more remain. See? I do remember. My parents taught us a Bible song when we were growing up. And my first year of university, I went to university for, I have a bachelor's of theology, so technically, I could be a pastor, which is why my tag is PLO. It stands for Pastor Low. Fun fact, in case, I haven't mentioned it before, which I'm pretty sure I have. Tom was actually one of my first youth students when I was a youth pastor. So that is why he is my son. And then he moved on to Mike's youth group. So he's also Mike's son. And that's why we have such a connection with him, because we helped build this kid up. Mike put in a lot more work than I did. And Tom is pretty freaking awesome now. We love him tremendously. He's amazing. But I grew up as a pastor's kid, so we read the Bible like so many times, cover to cover. Just so many times. And my parents taught us a song for going all the way through the books of the Bible. And when I got to my first year of my degree, one of our courses was, it was called Bible 101. And so part of my exam for that course was to write down the books of the Bible in order. I am one of a few students in that course that actually got that part of the exam correct. But I will admit that just before the exam started, I went into one of the student bathrooms, locked the door, and listened to the song on repeat. So every so often it goes through my head. Every so often. Anywho, we're in James chapter 2. So I looked in a few commentaries. In case you don't know what a commentary is, it is like Spark Notes for the Bible. It breaks things down, it gives you a little more context, and context is super important. Like, crazy important. You need to know your context. Taking a verse out of context drives me nuts, because like you don't actually know what you're talking about if you're just taking it. Like you have to have the stuff around it, as well as the history of it and the important stuff. Drives me nuts. So an overview of this chapter that I got from one of my commentaries was that this chapter is absolutely condemning despising the poor and favoring the rich. Yes, linguistic and historical context are super important. Absolutely super important. So it's about, we can't despise the poor and love on the rich. Just because from our perspective, the rich can give more to the church than a poor person can. Hi, I'm a poor person. Very poor person. And it took me a long time to realize that I could give more to ministry than just money. I can give my time, I can give my energy, my creativity. I can die repeatedly in video games or play as a cat and run around with you guys, and that's still being a part of the church, that's still being a part of ministry. But society just has this perspective that if you don't have money, then you don't get a say in anything, and your words aren't as important. And that the French person in me wants to say it's bull poop, but otherwise, it's just wrong. Because if you look at how Jesus treated people, he wasn't just favoring the rich, he was favoring the poor. He was showing people that the poor people could actually give more to the church than the rich people can. Like the story of the lady who gave just this tiny little coin in the offering in comparison to a rich person who gave so much more. And Jesus went, that offering that she just gave is worth more than what he did. Because she gave more of what she had. She gave everything she had. And she wasn't doing it for fame. She was doing it because she wanted to give back. She wanted to thank God. So the fact that society hates on the poor people, on the homeless people, on the people on disability because, oh no, we can't give as much. Hi, you want to see what disabled poor people can give? Take a look at what I can do on these streams. Take a look at the friendships that I can make with people across the world because of what I'm able to do here. This is not a typical job. Ministry is never a typical job, but this is like beyond non-typical ministry. And this poor disabled person is still able to be a part of it, is still able to give something. And this isn't me tooting my own horn. This is me stating facts. That my presence here is making a difference. So if you ever question if you can give something, take a look at Pilo. If she can do this, so can you. If that means, hey, I want to get more involved in some of the streaming stuff we're doing, maybe I'm going to partner with Tom or with Nuggets to do a playthrough, maybe I'm going to be a little more present here, maybe I'm going to sponsor a kid for summer camp this year. You can still give. You can still do so many things, even if you're not technically present at headquarters. We're not just an online ministry, we're also an in-person ministry. And I will admit that lately we've been a lot more in person. And that's on us. That's on us. We've got people all over the world who are here, who are part of our family. And we are working on more ways to connect with the people who cannot be here physically. I mean, there are days when I'm not going to be able to be there physically. There are days where I haven't been able to be there physically. And we're trying to find out ways that people like me who can't always be there can still be a part of things. Because you guys are awesome. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what you're doing, no matter what your financial status is, we love you. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're a part of this. And that's why James 2 is so important to me as someone who's not usually part of, the upper class, the physically abled, as someone who has so often been cast to the side. Hearing James say, yo, these people are just as important, if not more. That is huge for me. Because we talked about it before, James is the younger brother of Jesus. So if we're looking at this rich versus poor thing, technically Jesus would be the rich dude, and James would be the poor dude. And James is going, we're just as important. We're just as important. We can still do some freaking amazing things, even if, I'm not as cool as my older brother. Even if I didn't win the lottery and have $1 million. Even if my physical capabilities aren't enough for me to do Walk to Mordor. I can still do something. You're going to hear quite a few little, Pilo rants today, because this book is important to me, but this chapter is, the older I've gotten, the more important this chapter has gotten to me. I'm having more coffee, because this is my first cup of the day. I forgot I made it. So I sat there for a while. Solomon says, woo, rant. Yeah, I don't preach much anymore. It might come out doing some Pilo talks. It might come out. We'll see. And if this segment goes well enough, I might be convinced to come back and do it here and there. Give Ark a bit of a break from all of, Nerds in the Word. And he's rehashing a couple new things come the fall, but I didn't tell you that. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. We're working as a team because all of us are important. It's not just the ones that are like on top of the ministry. Mike would be the first one to tell you that he's not more important than any of us other streamers or leaders or council members. We're all the same. We're all on the same level here because we all have the same goal. To connect with you guys and help you guys connect with him. Alright, so delving back into the backstory here for James 2. God had chosen the poor, just like some of the stories that I had already told you. He had chosen the poor. And it says specifically in this chapter that he has chosen the poor and his name is often blasphemed by the rich. How many people do we know, specifically so-called Christians in power, I'm not getting political, but if you want you can look at the States as an example, who they blaspheme against him, they use his name in vain, their actions are completely different. Power and money corrupt. They just do. If I had $1 million, there's some stuff that I would do for good, but it would definitely end up corrupting. Because I'd have way too much fun buying new consoles and games. Yes, Solomon, Joel Osteen. Oh my word. When I grew up, my grandma watched him every week. She was in love with him, like, not in like that way, but like she loved his preaching style. She loved his church. She loved how charismatic he was. And as I got older, I knew that I wanted to go into ministry from the time I was 13. God made it very obvious that that was his plan for me. Like there was never a point in my life where I went, oh, I want to be a rocket scientist or a doctor. Like I knew I was going into ministry. So my entire high school career, all of my courses, everything was picked around going into ministry. What would I need for my degree? What would best help me with my degree? And the more I started delving into theology, when I would be hanging out with Grandma on a Sunday and she's watching Joel Osteen, my heart would just start to break a little. I'm sitting there going, no, that's not what that is. No. Like, it was just like, what the heck is going on here? And there's so many Christians that I know who they get caught up in certain little completely ripped out of context pieces, and they just make that their whole personality and go about it. This chapter of James specifically tells us that God's law as a whole is to be obeyed. That just by disobeying one single part of it, you have failed it all. By just taking one little single piece away, God has said that murder and adultery are bad, so you can't say, oh, well, I killed someone, but I didn't cheat on my spouse, so therefore it cancels it out and I'm okay. You're still guilty. You still gosh darn done messed up. It's not just, oh, I did good over here, but I kind of sucked over here. And we're going to delve into that so much more. But it's to be obeyed as a whole. And we're not perfect. He knows that. But it's what's in your heart. If you're genuinely trying, if you have genuine remorse for what you've done, he's going to know that. Believe me, he knows what's fake and what's not. We might not be able to tell, but he sure can. And I know it's going to be, Judgment Day is going to be a harsh awakening for a lot of people. And there have been times in my life, especially while I was in university, that I sat there and wondered how many of the people that I have known and loved who are in Bible college with me, yes, it was called Bible college, but it's university. It's weird. I don't know. Like, how many people around me, when it gets to Judgment Day, are going to be told no? And that hurt my heart, especially as these people were planning on leading others in ministry. You break one part, you break it all. That went the same for the contract we had to sign when we, signed up for university. It was like 27 pages with a whole bunch of rules. Some of them were really stupid, but if you broke one part, that was it. They were very strict that way. And then the last key point that we're going to look at is faith without works is dead. And James compares this to the faith of a devil. Because the devil knows God's real. But does he do anything about his faith? Does he do anything? Or does he just, go, oh yeah, I like him. He's whatever. He's kind of a weird sibling, whatever. And just goes about his own merry way. That's not going to save him. It's not going to save any of us either. It's its own thing. It's its own thing. We're going to get into James now. So it broke it into 3 different sections for me in both my Bible and the commentary. So we're going to read it in those 3 sections. And this is going to end up like Nerds in the Word. It's going to go later than it's supposed to. Oh well, hope y'all are ready for the long haul. Okay, so the top of the NIV for James chapter 2 says favoritism forbidden. And that sets the tone for all of this. Okay, I've also got it in the Message, and there's parts of this that I will reread in the Message, just so you guys know. Okay. James chapter 2. Hope you've got your Bible or your phone or whatever, maybe you don't have that and you just want to listen along. You're gonna have to hear me talk a lot. I apologize, but I'm also not that sorry because you chose to watch this. You made that choice. So you can leave if you want, but you made the choice to watch me, so you're gonna have to listen to me. My brothers and sisters, believers in our glorious Lord Jesus Christ, must not show favoritism. Suppose a man comes into your meeting wearing a gold ring and fine clothes, and a poor man in filthy old clothes also comes in. If you show special attention to the man wearing fine clothes and say, "Here, a good seat for you," but say to the poor man, "You stand there," or "Sit on the floor by my feet," have you not discriminated amongst yourselves and become judges with evil thoughts? There we go. Listen, my dear brothers and sisters, has not God chosen those who are poor in the eyes of the world to be rich in faith and to inherit the kingdom he promised those who love him? But you have dishonored the poor. It is not the rich. Oh, is it not the rich who are exploiting you? Are they not the ones who are dragging you into court? Are they not the ones who are blaspheming the noble name of him to whom you belong? So that is 1 through 7. There's going to be a lot of steak to chew on here, and I know that you love, steak, Solomon. There's going to be a lot to chew on. I wish you guys could hear the music. It's nice, chill vibes. It's great for this. So, what James is talking about in this passage is actually, I'm probably going to butcher the name of this, but it's called the sin of prolipsia. Prosolipolipsia. There we go. It is called, or other words, lack of respect. I didn't know that there was an actual word for that, and it's great. I'm gonna write it in the chat because it's a very interesting word, and I know I'm butchering it, and I'm kind of sad that Rabbi is not here, but also glad that he's not hearing me butcher this. Come on, stop it. Prosolipsia. Prosolipsia. I'm butchering even trying to text it out. Oh my word. Sopolipsia. There we go. That's it. That is the name of this kind of sin. Okay? So it means lack of respect. And that doesn't go for those who are low on the financial totem pole. It doesn't go for those who are low of societal stature. It's across the board. So that's what this would be called when you're disrespecting your parents as well. That is the name of this sin. Like I said, I had no idea that there was an actual name for this other than, honor your father and mother, you've broken that covenant. So this was kind of cool. So at this time period when James is writing this letter, lack of respect, especially towards those considered a lower class, was so rampant. It was tearing apart churches and Christian societies. It was tearing them apart because you had people going, "What the heck? That's not okay," and other people going, "We don't want them anywhere near us. What's your problem?" And that doesn't just translate into that time. That translates to today. All right? Before I started working with Graphic Word, I was working with a homeless shelter. I was one of their frontline workers. And the amount of hate that the community and the city around us had for this population, the amount of disdain that they still have. That shelter is not enough for the population of homeless people that we have in my area, but the city has dismissed the shelter's requests multiple times to use one of the old government abandoned buildings for a new shelter. The city goes, we're already getting bad publicity and like people are mad about it, so no. And there's no other plan to help these people. The idea is just, oh, they're horrible people, like they want to be out there, they want to be doing this. No. That's not how this goes. Yeah, some of them would rather be out there because it's all they know, but for a lot of them, it's the worst thing in the world. They want nothing more than to get off the streets. And as someone who is incredibly lucky to be able to be living at home, yes, I still live with my parents. There's like 6 million reasons for that. One of them being the financial aspect. The housing market is insane for a house, for an apartment, for all of it. And there's just this expectation that people like me or people in the homeless community should just be able to find something, get off the streets, get out of the way. It's like, oh, if they die, well, then the problem's gone. It's like, who hardened your heart? These are the people that Jesus loved on the most, despite what the Pharisees and the religious leaders were saying. Solomon makes a very good point. Some homeless people even resort to crime just so they get a warm meal and a bed, which sucks. A couple years ago during the winter, there was a rash of break-ins and fires in my community. The city were taking their sweet time to open our warming center, and we were dealing with one of the coldest winters I have ever experienced. And they had nowhere else to go to keep warm. So they were finding these abandoned buildings. They were starting a fire to keep warm. They didn't mean for things to get out of control. And the city still holds that against this population. The number of people I knew that died that winter because they couldn't find somewhere warm, and the public opinion was, how dare they? How dare this population do that? They're dangerous, they're this, they're whatever. It's like, I would probably do the same thing if I needed to keep warm. Hands down, I would do the same thing. I would do whatever it takes. And yeah, a lot of them will end up in prison because they know they get a bed and a warm meal. They can't get into the shelter. We had to call the cops a few times because of situations like that. They couldn't get a bed. They did what they had to do to get one, even if that meant they then had a record, which made it harder. It's not a long-term plan thing for most of them, and most of them is just getting through that exact moment. And unless you've, experienced that or been a part of that world, you don't think about that. You don't realize the impact. And then for society to look at you and call you a drain on society, call you less than human, to say those things, and then also call yourself a Christian. Like, if you fail at one part, you fail at all of it. Respect shouldn't come from wealth, but from faith. At our last Pillow Talk, I talked a bit about my grandma, who was the fiercest prayer warrior I have ever known. Like, that woman got up every morning at the crack of dawn to pray for every single family member by name. And she had all the names memorized. I was technically her great-granddaughter. My niece was her great-great-granddaughter. And she remembered everybody's names, even our significant others. And she'd pray for us by name every single day. Now, the respect that I have for her is because of her faith. The respect that I have for her is because of the way she walked that faith. Like, when I found out that she and my grandpa had started orphanages in Africa simply because they saw a need, the amount of respect and love that I felt, she knew I was working at the shelter. And she would ask sometimes how she could help. She would ask sometimes what she could do. And my grandparents on my dad's side, when the winter came, my grandma gave me a garbage bag full of knitted hats, scarves, mittens. She knits for a hobby, and she will create care packages for newborns in the hospital and preemies. She created care packages for the homeless population. And when I stopped working at the shelter, she started donating more to her local shelter. It's my grandma on my dad's side, they don't come from money. They don't have a ton of money. But my grandma gave what she can. She continues to give what she can. And when I look at my grandma, I see the woman who just gave that coin that was a fraction of a penny. And Jesus went, that's worth more. That's worth more than you can ever know. That is where our respect should be. It should be on where your faith is, on the fruit that we can see in your lives. It shouldn't be about the amount of money you have, or the house you have, or the car you have. It's not about what you have, it's about what you've done with it. It's about what you've done with your faith. When in this part of James chapter 2, 1-7, when we get to the part where, oh my word, where did it go? Okay. Wait a minute. So that verse 2 where it says, suppose a man comes into your meeting wearing a gold ring and fine clothes, and a poor man comes in filthy old clothes. When they're talking about a meeting, they're not just talking about a regular Sunday service. They are talking about a leadership meeting, like your deacons, your elders getting together to discuss the church, the future of the church, and where things are going. So when they are saying that the rich man is getting one of the best seats, and the poor man is being told to stand over there or sit by my feet, they are saying that they care more about what this rich man can bring to the table for the church than they do about what the poor man can. And as my many rants thus far have already explained, that's backwards. Because who is going to understand the poor population better than someone who's lived in it? Who is going to understand the way that single mothers and widows feel unless they've been in that? It's hard to understand a population or someone if you have no relevance or no relevant experience as to what they are dealing with. I see my therapist every week. I have seen a therapist every week for years. I'm broken. It is what it is. I'm broken. I'm going to use that brokenness for God, but I'm broken. And whenever we're talking about health stuff, which we have been a lot lately, she says, I will never tell you that I understand what you're feeling, but I know what it is to feel hopeless. And that impacted me more than someone going, oh, that must suck. Or, oh, are you okay? It was, I'm never going to understand exactly how you're feeling, but I know what that emotion feels like. I know what that situation is like. And then a couple weeks ago, my therapist tells me that she has recently been diagnosed with a chronic health condition, and she is struggling to come to terms with it. So she asked me, how do you stay positive in the midst of news that is going to change your entire life? And I was able to tell her I can stay positive through most of it. I do have days where I'm just like done with everything. But I can be positive that things are going to be okay because I know the one who wrote my story, and I know how this story will end. I was able to share my faith with her because we had similar experiences. I was able to share my faith with her because my faith had opened up a door for her to ask the questions. And we were able to make a better relationship and connect better because of it. We had a good connection before, but the connection we have now and the ease of like me being able to talk to her about certain aspects of chronic illness, it's a much stronger relationship, and I have the opportunity to share my faith with her in a way that I never had before. Because people like me, we do bring something to the table. And maybe it's just because when things get bad, when they seem dark, I already know what that feels like, and I know what that feels like to be there alone. That was one of the reasons my heart pulled me to ministry, because I had been the person who was cast aside. I had been the person who nobody wanted to be around or be like, or deal with whatsoever. And I had done all of that alone. And I knew I never wanted anybody else to experience that alone. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. Because I have an opportunity to reach out to our chronic illness gamers. I have an opportunity to reach out to our disabled gamers and go, hey, what can we do that will help? And I'm able to talk to Mike and be like, if we did this, this, and this, it makes it a little easier on me. And he goes, perfect. Let's run with this. What can we do with this? The council values my input and opinion. That is the way it should be. It shouldn't be, oh, what do you even bring to the table? It's, what can you do? What can we do to partner with you? How can we spread his glory, spread his amazingness? Because I'm telling you right now, if I didn't have him to lean on, I would not be alive right now. And I'm not even joking. There's been so many points in my life where I was at my absolute lowest, and if I didn't have him, I wouldn't have kept fighting. Because he reminded me that things may suck right now, but we win in the end. And I don't know about you, but I spent a decade waiting for Endgame, waiting for a genuine victory after a defeat like that. And I waited that long for Endgame. I can wait so much longer for my Endgame. When those portals open and the angels flood in and the fight takes over and we win. That portal scene always gives me goosebumps, because I know someday it's going to be similar to that. Not that Doctor Strange shows up by my side and we're fighting Thanos, but that the god of angel armies shows up. And ain't no one escaping that battle. Whew, okay. We're going to move on to our next section, which is verses 8 through 13. I'm going to take some more coffee. Pila likes going on tangents. It's something she does from time to time. She can't help it. But I have an outlet now, and like I said before, y'all are stuck with me. Stuck with me. If only you could hear the groan that the dog just made outside the door. I say y'all are stuck with me, and he goes, as he lays down. That's true love right there. How dare he? How dare he? Okay. 8 through 13. If you really keep the royal law found in Scripture, love your neighbor as yourself, you are doing right. But if you show favoritism, you sin and are convicted by the law as lawbreakers. But if you show favoritism, you sin and are convicted by the law as lawbreakers. For whoever keeps the whole law and yet stumbles at just one point is guilty of breaking all of it. For he who said, "You shall not commit adultery," also said, "You shall not murder." If you do not commit adultery, but you do commit murder, you've become a lawbreaker. Speak and act as those who are going to be judged by the law that gives freedom. Because judgment without mercy will be shown to anyone who has not been merciful. Mercy triumphs over judgment. So this is where we get to the part where it talks about you break one part of this, you break all of this. So if you have ever been to post-secondary education, you probably understand how a course works. You get your syllabus and it breaks down, this assignment is worth this much, this is worth this much, your exam is worth this much. That's not what we're talking about here. That's not how this works. This is not, oh, I messed up here, but it was only 5% of my final grade, so I think I'm okay here. This kind of course with the law, it's a pass-fail. You either pass it or you fail it. And let's be real, we've all messed up. We've all messed up. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I've never once messed up in my life, because that would be a lie and that would be messing up. So, but like I mentioned before, it's your heart. Are you genuinely sorry for the mistake that you have made? Are you making an effort to change? What is your intent? Where is your heart lying at? And he can see it. We can't see it. Like, I mean, even if I pulled out an x-ray, I'm not going to be able to look at an x-ray of a heart or ultrasound of a heart and go, ah, yes, that is a guilty heart. You can see the sin over here in this chamber. We don't have technology for that, and even if we did, I don't think humanity is smart enough to be able to look at a human heart and go, ah, yes, this one is guilty of many sins. As you can see, the adultery has been held here in this part of the heart, whereas the greed and the lying is held over here. Yeah, we can't do that. He can, but we can't. And it's probably good that we can't, because honestly, we're crazy judgmental. Like, I can admit, when Guardians of the Galaxy came out, I was a Marvel fan. Still am. I've got my Captain Marvel shirt on today. When it came out, I looked at the poster, and I looked at a trailer, and I went, it's a talking animal and a talking tree. This really this looks stupid. I'm not gonna like it. It just looks stupid. And a friend really wanted to go see it. So we got, it was a birthday present, so I paid for the tickets to go see a movie that I was like, I'm absolutely gonna hate this movie. I laughed so hard I cried. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1 is one of my favorite Marvel movies. But I went into that fully judging the movie, going, I'm gonna hate this, before I even tried it. And it wasn't just that movie. I've done that with a lot of books, with a lot of movies. Even, music. It's just like, I don't know, that kind of looks dumb. We're so quick to make snap judgments without most of the information. All I had was a trailer and a poster, and I was quick to go, yeah, that's gonna suck. I didn't know what the story was gonna be. I didn't know what the characters were actually about. I didn't know anything, but I was like, yeah, this is stupid. And if my friend hadn't wanted to go, I never would have gone, and I probably never would have seen it. We are so quick to judge, whether it's media or events or other people. Our first instinct is to judge. And I mean, as Jesus said at one point when they wanted to stone the woman, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. That was just another way of saying, if you've broken one part, you've broken all of it. And you can't judge her because you're just as messed up. It's a recurring theme where judgment just gets you in trouble. You don't know the context, you don't know the facts, you don't know the whole heart, you don't know the whole truth, and we're so quick to judge. And not only are we quick to judge, but we're quick to say, well, I'm better than so-and-so. I'm better than this mass murderer because I didn't mass murder people, but if you break one part, you break all of it. I've lied before, especially when I was a child. I wasn't good at it, but I lied. So, therefore, I'm just as bad as that mass murderer. It is our society that places the weight on the various crimes or laws, but he sees it as all the same. He's going, why are you guys judging? It's the exact same. You guys might as well have done the same things. But we look at things differently and we expect him to see it our way. When the whole thing is his way, it's all his. He made it. He made all of it. And he made me too. And he made that mass murderer. And he gave us free will, and we made those choices. He still loves us. He still wants to get to know us. And he's still willing to forgive us if we are genuine in asking for forgiveness. It's just one of those days, people. You break one, you break all of it. And as the end of this section says, we need to not only be impartial, we need to be merciful. Look at how Paul changed. Okay? He was a mass murderer. He was someone who thought he was mightier than, that he was better than. And God shook that up. He became Paul from Saul. And imagine how the Christian community around him felt. First Sunday after he's saved, he goes to church. If a mass murderer, a very well-known mass murderer, walked into your church on Sunday, what are your thoughts going to be? Are they going to be filled with mercy? Are they going to be impartial, or are you going to judge that person based on what they've done before? Not knowing the intent of their heart, not knowing the state of their relationship with Christ. Are you going to dunk on them when maybe there's a chance that is another Paul in your midst? Someone else who can do amazing things for the Christian community. But because they've messed up in their past, we just toss them off to the side. I'd have a hard time with it. I'll be honest. I'd have a hard time. It would take a lot of prayer and a lot of time spent seeking God to ask him to soften my heart towards that person. We are very quick to judge, even when we don't know all the facts, all the stories. And that gets us into trouble because we're no better. We're no better. You break one part, you break all of it. It's pass-fail. It's not a traditional syllabus where telling a lie takes 5% off your grade. It's pass-fail. Break one part, you break all of it. Reminds me of Larry Boy in the Fib from Outer Space. Junior Asparagus breaks his dad's collectible plate and doesn't want to get in trouble. So he tells a lie, and that like grows and grows and grows, and then you need Larry Boy to come in and, clean up the mess. I know this has me wanting to watch Larry Boy, so I might do that later, but that's its own thing. It gets out of hand really fast. Even just a simple lie, like, no, it wasn't me, I didn't break it. It escalates very quickly. It seems innocent, seems okay enough, seems small enough. But you break one part, you break all of it. And I think that is something we are very quick to forget, because it's not easy to sit with. It's not easy to go, oh, according to him, I'm no better. It makes it hard to understand why he loves us if we still mess up like that, why he still wants us if we mess up with that. At least it does for me, anyway. There's a lot of times where it's like, why do you want someone who is so broken they dislocate things when they sneeze, someone who requires so many meds to keep them stable for lack of a better term. Why do you want me? Why do you want to know me? Why do you choose me? Why have you put me in this position? And oftentimes my mind wanders back to Esther. Maybe you've been placed here for such a time as this. You see a lot of evidence in the Bible that he genuinely wants us. Genuinely wants to spend time with us. And we sit here and we go, why? Like, what's the catch here? But there is no catch. He loves us even though we've screwed up. It's just like a parent, right? Like I've always had this image. I paint sometimes, and I also bake when I'm stressed out and when I'm upset. And I've had this image in my head for years of I make a painting and I bring it to God, and he tells me I did such a good job, and he puts it up on the fridge the same way that I do with my niece's drawings when she draws me something. It doesn't matter if, she colored the cow purple or, nothing is inside of the lines. She made this. It's gorgeous. It's amazing, and I love it. He made us. And we're gorgeous, and we're amazing, and he loves us. But he puts the ball in our court. Now we are going to get to our final section, which is verses 14 through 26, down to the end of the chapter. This is where things get more intense than they've already been, and now you're going, oh my word, Pila, but this has already been really intense, and you've gone on several rants about society and other things, and I'm like, it's true, I have, but there's a reason that this chapter is my favorite chapter across the entire Bible. There is a reason, and it's the end of this chapter. That is the reason. What good is it, my brothers and sisters, if someone claims to have faith but has no deeds? Can such faith save them? Suppose a brother or sister is without clothes and daily food. If one of you says to them, go in peace, keep warm and well fed, but does nothing about their predicament, what good is it? In the same way, faith by itself, if it is not accompanied by action, is dead. But someone will say, you have faith, and I have deeds. Come on, the thinness of the pages always really bugs me. I'm always afraid I'm going to rip things. Some of you may say, I have faith and you have deeds. Show me your faith without deeds, and I will show you my faith by my deeds. You believe that there is one God? Good. Even the demons believe this, and they shudder. You foolish person, do you want evidence that faith without deeds is useless? Was not our father Abraham considered righteous for what he did when he offered his son Isaac on the altar? You see that his faith and his actions were working together, and his faith was made complete by what he did. And the scripture was fulfilled that says, Abraham believed God, and it was credited to him as righteousness, and he was called God's friend. You see that a person is considered righteous by what they do, and not by faith alone. In the same way, was not even Rahab the prostitute considered righteous for what she did when she gave lodging to the spies and sent them off in a different direction? As the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without deeds is dead. So that's a little heavy. It's a little heavy. And honestly, in my mind, it's like, okay, but what level of deeds do I need to hit? Is there a certain amount I need to do? And that's not what it is. That's not. My brain wants to quantify it because it doesn't understand the love. It doesn't understand the purpose. It doesn't understand the faith. It's very quick to jump to conclusions that, I need to get this much XP so I can get to this level because that'll get me into heaven. That's not what it's talking about. That's not what this section is talking about at all. If faith isn't accepting Christ and being done with it, it is a lifelong work in progress. It is a progress of growing in Him and honoring Him. At the end of the day, your faith is what is going to be judged. And your works, they help grow and deepen your faith. But it is the attitude of your heart behind it that determines whether these works help grow your faith. It comes back to where your heart is. And I don't just mean in your chest. I mean, are you giving half of yourself to this, or are you giving it your all? Where is your heart? Where is your intention behind what you are doing? For you see, it's not solely about what we do, it's about why we do it. It's about who we're doing it for. Because at the end of the day, it all comes back to Him. That's the way it should be. That's the way it is. All comes back to Him at the end of the day. So, this picture kind of popped up into my head when I was reading about faith and works. And I wrote it down because I knew I would forget it if I didn't write it down. Gas alone won't run your car. Your engine alone won't run your car. But together they make your car run. Faith and works are exactly the same. I'm going to repeat that again because I really like that. Maybe it's just me liking it, but I'm going to repeat it again. So, gas alone won't run your car. Your engine alone won't run your car. But together they make your car run. Faith and works are exactly the same. The end of this chapter talks about Abraham and Rahab, their faith, their deeds. Abraham was a leader. He was a godly man. He was a man of leadership, all right? He was very well known, very well loved. And then you have Rahab, who was a prostitute. But her faith and her works helped get the spies out of Jericho and bring the wall down. Her faith and her works did that, and she was brought into the Israelite family. She was accepted as one of their own, and it was Rahab's line that brought forth David. It was Rahab's line that brought forth Jesus. He could have chosen to come from any line. He could have chosen to come from any set of parents, but he chose to come from Rahab's line. He chose to come from the history of a prostitute. That says something about faith. It says something about the way that faith and works move together. He chose her for a purpose. And her purpose led to the Savior of nations through her bloodline. Like, that is just astounding to me. Someone that, especially in the world today, would be looked down on, ended up being given a role outside of history. It's just absolutely crazy. All right. We are going to start to finish up, close up, all that fun stuff on Pillow Talk, because I have ranted. I have raved. We've gone through James chapter 2. We got hit with a lot of heavy things. There's going to be a lot of stuff to chew on. I recommend you read it for yourself. Read it for yourself. Like, seriously sit down, take the time, go through this bit by bit by bit. Like, I seriously recommend taking some time But here's your level up challenge. Try and find one way that you can be less judgmental and more merciful. Look at one aspect of your life in which you could judge less and love more. Because that's what he wants us to do. He wants us to love. That's what we should be doing. That's what he is. He is love. And if we are exemplifying him, we are to love. We are to show mercy. We are to show support. That's what he wants. So what's one way that you could do it? And I'm going to take on that challenge myself. I'm not just giving it to you guys. I'm not just giving it to you guys. I'm doing it too. Because this isn't a, I'm better than you guys because I have the theology degree. No. We're all on the same level here. All on the same level. We all need to work and grow our faith. And what better way to lead than to lead by example? All right. I'm going to close this off in prayer. Yeah. I don't have a banana, because if I had a banana, the dog would go nuts. But I do have some gummies. I found these at Walmart the other day, and I'm actually super excited because they're peach mango ones, and peach and mango are two of my favorite flavors, and I like that they use real fruit. Because my favorite flavor was the super berry ones, but they got rid of those in Canada, and I'm mad. So then I found these, and I love them. I didn't think I was going to like them nearly as much as I do. Alright, does anybody have any prayer requests? If you've got them, throw them in the chat. I don't mind praying for people. I'm going to give you a minute to do that. Well, I just sit here and jam to the music that apparently only I can hear. I'm going to have to figure that part out. Yeah. Of course. Absolutely, of course. I will pray for your mom. And that's got to be hard on you too, Solomon. Continuing to pray for you as well. I'm praying that you don't get, any PTSD flashbacks when you have to go to the hospital next to talk about, your chemo and everything. And I'm praying that, firstly, this cancer is going to finally leave you alone and just go away. But also any treatments that you have to go through. I'm praying that your body will take it like a champ and that you'll have minimal side effects. Oh man, Solomon. That's hard. That's hard on you too, because you're just barely out of the hospital yourself. It's almost like they want you back all the time. Goodness. Okay. Gonna pray for that. Gonna pray for Tom and his job search. I know he has an interview coming up, so prayer that goes well for him too. And then Hoff wanted prayers for his car to get it fixed faster, because apparently there's a big engine issue with it right now. So he has a rental, but the rental has Quebec plates. So he's been warned that if he brings that to my house, my family will disown him. But anyway, we're going to pray. Oh, Papa. You see us as we are. We're all equal to you. We're all on the same level. The levels that we have created are not ones that you see. We come to you with our heartaches, our ailments, our our sorrows, God. We bring before you Solomon's mom. I can't even imagine what she is going through right now, and I can't even imagine how Solomon is doing. I pray that you would comfort both of them, that you would give both of them some peace, that you would wrap them up in your biggest hug. Remind them that you've got this, that you're there. And I pray that you would remind them that it's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. And that you're more than able to take all of that. I pray that the doctors and nurses would be able to step in and do something and help. And I ask that if it's your will, that you just take it. That you just take this. I pray that you would step in and make yourself known in this situation, God. That you would make yourself so obviously known that those around Solomon and his family can see it plain as day that you were there with them. We also pray for Solomon. We are so glad that he's finally out of the hospital and away from the hospital food and can finally have good food again. We thank you for that. We praise you for that. And we ask that as Solomon continues with his chemo treatments, you'd be there with him. That you would be the pillar of smoke by day and the pillar of fire by night. That you would be right there the entire time. I pray that his body would handle this round of chemo well. Whatever the next steps are, whatever the next treatment is, I pray that he would handle it exceedingly well. And that his body would listen to it. That this cancer would be so terrified that it would run fleeing. God, we also ask for Tom in his job search, that you'd open the doors in his way, and that you would show him that you're there throughout all of the frustrating what are my next steps moments, that you would just remind him that you're there. And we pray for Hoff's car as well. It's difficult when you live far away from family to lose the only thing that connects you back to them. So we praise you that all of these repairs are under warranty and that Hoff doesn't have to spend a dime on this car, but we ask that the car would be fixed quickly. And if at all possible, if you can change the license plate on his rental from Quebec to Ontario, even Alberta would be better, Lord. Because, yeah, then you could just change it. And God, I ask that you soften our hearts. That you gently remind us, or maybe with a steel chair to the back of the head, remind us when we are being judgmental and lacking mercy. Pray that you would soften our hearts, that you would show us the error of our ways, and that you would lead us and guide us so that through our works our faith can be perfected in you. We praise you, we thank you, we love you. In your name, amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So you got about 16 Pilo sermons in there throughout our look in James chapter 2 today. So thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for reading through this with me. Let me look at my calendar real quick to see when our next Pilo talk is. Yes, and more coffee as well. We have Pilo Talk next Wednesday. For the next 2 weeks in a row, there will be Pilo Talk on Wednesday. I had to move things around because of a few appointments, so there's Pilo Talk next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that. So we'll be dealing with chapter 3 next week. Woo! And maybe I'll have the music thing figured out by then. We'll see. Oh, ladies and gents, and whatever your pronouns are, we love you. I love you. I'm wishing you guys a fantastic morning, afternoon, night, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. Don't forget how awesome you are. Don't forget how loved you are. And don't forget that no matter what you have or don't have, you still bring something to the table. So I wish you guys a great couple days. I will see you on Friday. I will be spinning our game wheel tomorrow for what I will be playing on Friday. And I will throw it in our Discord to let you guys know what we got. So I look forward to seeing you guys on Friday at noon for Retro Replay. And like I said, I will announce the game tomorrow. I have to spin the wheel on Thursday so I can make sure that I have the game downloaded on my external hard drive to take to the office. So yes, join our Discord if you want future updates on when Pillow Talk is happening, when any of our streams are happening. You can be on our Discord and get notified for those streams. We also do some crazy memes and other fun events through our Discord. So I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, beginning of your day. I hope that maybe you can get some good nap, some nice cool air, live life like a cat, perhaps, like we did for Retro Replay last week. Anywho, love you guys, and I will see you on Friday.